Hi everyone. I wish you all are healthy and safe in this pandemic situation. I know in this pandemic situation we all are dealing with very unusual kind of stress. I was reading the newspaper and was stunned by the increasing rate of marriage failures. I strongly believe that marriage is an important decision and it should be taken wisely. It's very easy to blame each other for the failure of relationship, but the marriage to be worked upon need contribution from both the partners. To prove this point, I came up with a masterpiece of George Eliot, Middlemarch. Middlemarch, a study of provincial life, is one of the 19th century Victorian novel written by George Eliot. Her real name was Mary Ann Vance. She wrote with her pseudonym male name because female authors were not taken seriously during 19th century. It was written during 1869 to 71 in London, England. It was first published during 1871-72 in 8 volumes. George Eliot wrote many novels on the theme of provincial society. The set of Middlemarch is in England in 1830s. It is neither a story of Dorothea nor Lydgate, the main characters. It is a tale of financial provincial town Middlemarch and the people living over there. They are from different professions and social status. It's a tale of real life issues and complexity of ordinary human life in medieval English society. This book is based on the theme of vocation, marital compatibility, social position, money, etc. The structure of the book is very complex and there are 4 different plots interwoven with each other in Middlemarch. The first is Dorothea Brooke, the second is Dr. Tertius Lydgate, the third is Fred VINCY, and the last 4th one is Nicholas Bulstrode. The first story is of Dorothea Brooke. Dorothea Brooke and her younger sister Celia are orphaned and lives with their uncle Mr. Brooke. Dorothea was intelligent, beautiful and generous and wanted to live a life with a mission or project for improving the society. She has a desire to design the cottage for farmers to improve their situation. But gender obligation is a hurdle in fulfilling of her dreams. Sir James visits her house frequently and he is the only person who encourages her to fulfill her dreams. He was fascinated towards her and wanted to marry her, but she did not have the same feelings for him. During a small dinner party, Sir James comes along with his friend Mr. Casaubon. He was a scholar who was doing research on the key of all mythology. He was almost 27 years older than Dorothea. They both started liking and admiring each other and considered themselves well suited to each other's need. But it was a serious error because husband-wife relationship was based only on an intellectual plane. Dorothea married with Casaubon and Celia, her sister, married with Sir James. Dorothea wanted to fulfill her dreams through Casaubon and wanted to help him in his scholarly pursuits. For Dorothea, marriage was a state of higher duties. Celia, on the other hand, was more sensible and practical. She enjoyed fine clothes, jewels, friendly visits. She was happily married with Sir James and later they had a baby, Arthur. After marriage, Dorothea and Casaubon went for a disastrous wedding journey to Rome. It was a very confusing experience for Dorothea as she felt very lonely and unwanted. Casaubon was not much interested in Dorothea. He only wants that she serve him as a good wife. He was busy and composed in his own research. He neither involved Dorothea in his research nor was interested in the fulfillment of her dreams. Now here, one more character enters in the story, Bill Ladislaw. He was the cousin of Casaubon and an outsider in Middlemarch. Casaubon supported Ladislaw financially. He was a young, handsome artist who was very friendly. Dorothea liked the company of Will and soon they became friends. Casaubon was jealous of Will Ladislaw when he develops a friendship with Dorothea. Dorothea was loyal towards her husband and she felt very bad. Gradually, Casaubon fell ill. He was taken to Dr. Lydgate as Bill admired him for his passionate profession as a doctor. He became friend of Dr. Lydgate. Dr. Lydgate treated him, but he had a heart attack and he died. Before his death, he wanted to take Dorothea's promise that she will follow his wishes, but before she could promise, he died. Later, Dorothea comes to know that her husband wrote a will that if she married with Ladislaw, she will be disinherited from his property. She decided to remain away from him. Ladislaw was working as an editor of the newspaper published by Dorothea's uncle, Mr. Brooke. Now, in this situation, he wanted to leave that job and go to London. As he wanted to remain away from Dorothea, he left the job and went to London. But he comes back after some time. Now, Dorothea ultimately fell in love and married him, without any guilt of leaving Casaubon's property. Ladislaw became politician later and shifted to London. They were happy and content. Later, they had 2 children. The second story is of Dr. Tertius Lydgate. Lydgate is a progressive doctor who arrives in Middlemarch. He got his education from Paris and was a passionate doctor. He was a good doctor with new ideas. Lydgate wanted the betterment in health and reform in medical system. As he was idealistic and had different ideas and methods, he faced a lot of problem in Middlemarch. He was criticized by other doctors and did not get support from other people. It was a characteristic of provincial life that people do not trust new people and their new ideas. One day, Rosamond Vincy visited the doctor with her brother, Fred Vincy, for his treatment. They both were the children of Mayor of Middlemarch, Mr. Vincy. Rosamond was beautiful and clever. For social upliftment and wealth, she married Lydgate. Lydgate also thought that she is a refined woman and will become a good partner. But later he realized that she is very selfish. She spent a lot of money on her luxury and ruined the financial condition. They both were also not satisfied with their marriage. It was an imperfect marriage. They married without getting to know each other and were frustrated. To improve his situation, he asked for a loan from Rosamond's uncle and a banker, Nicholas Bulstrode. But he refuses to give in the beginning. Bulstrode's story we will see at the end. The third story is of Fred Vincy. He was an irresponsible man. He was the brother of Rosamond Vincy and they both are children of Mr. Walter Vincy, who was the mayor of Middlemarch. He borrows money from everyone for his requirements. He borrowed a lot of money for gambling and his lifestyle from others and was unable to pay it. Mr. Featherstone is his rich uncle. He borrowed money from him and spends all the money in gambling. Fred thinks that he will inherit his uncle's property as he was childless. He also left his studies in between, but his uncle left his entire property for his illegitimate son, Joshua Rigg. He loves Mary Garth from his childhood. She is Featherstone's niece and Caleb Garth's daughter. As Caleb Garth took the security, he had to pay Fred Vincy's debt. He does it with very difficulty, but the father and daughter were very angry with Fred. After this incident, he completed his studies so that he can find a job. Mary was determined that she will only marry him if he finds a job for him, not if he becomes clergy. He changed himself but could not find a job. Finally, Caleb Garth and Mary forgives him and he started working with him in his new business. Finally, they got married. He was doing well in his career. Caleb Garth gave one of his property to Fred and he, with his wife, shifted there and lived happily ever after. They had 3 children afterwards. Marriage between Fred and Mary worked better because they knew each other from a long time and understand each other. The final story is of Nicholas Bulstrode. He is a wealthy banker whom nobody likes in Middlemarch. Dr. Lydgate wanted to improve his situation and he asked for the loan from Bulstrode. He worked according to Bulstrode's guidance as he wanted his help and he always wanted to make him happy and sacrificed his conscience. Bulstrode started deciding about his hospital also. Mr. Bulstrode and Mrs. Bulstrode lived a glorious life in Middlemarch. He was blackmailed by a mysterious man called John Raffles. He knew about his past secret and his illegal business. To become rich in his past, he also married an elderly woman after her death. He acquired her property. As Mr. Bulstrode was a respectful man now in Middlemarch, Raffles started blackmailing him and wanted money to keep his secret. Bulstrode was very upset about Raffles' behavior and wanted to get rid of him. Raffles fell ill, so Bulstrode conspired against John Raffles. Finally, he died at Bulstrode House when Dr. Lydgate was treating him. Raffles actually died due to his excessive drinking habit of alcohol, but before dying, he told about Bulstrode's past truth to Caleb Garth and few more people. So people of Middlemarch started accusing him. Finally, he had to leave the Middlemarch as everyone was against him. His wife was also very upset to know about his past, but forgives him. Even Dr. Lydgate was to be blamed because he was also present there. He also received the loan from Bulstrode, which went against him. He also finally shifted to London. There he died in the age of 50 and his wife married another doctor. This is the end of this book. This is the brief summarization of the Middlemarch, which helps in understanding if there is no forgiveness and adjustments in the marriage, it can lead to disaster. Also, there is a famous quote by Dave Morse, which I strongly believe. A great marriage is not when the perfect couple comes together. It is when an imperfect couple learns to enjoy their differences. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do like and subscribe my channel. Press the bell icon for notification of more book reviews.